So the Sports 2000 cars coming up to form on the grid, 2 grids. The historic cars get a separate grid that starts, although this sheet doesn't actually say as much, but in the previous race it started 10 seconds behind. So the grid will line up like this. On pole position number 1, Michael Gibbons, and beside him number 82, Ben Cater. 1 and 82 is the front row. The second row, 2x2 start, 117, Colin Peach, who won the earlier race, and 26, Tom Stoughton. 117 and 26, row 2. Row 3, 77, Tony Barwell, and 50, Steve O. 77 and 50, row 3. Row 4, 48, Andy Chittenden, and 25, Josh Needham. 48 and 25, row 4. Row 5, 40, 4-0, Tim Tudor. We think, but it could be a change of driver here, and Patrick Sherrington has taken the car over. And 44, John Eiley alongside. 40 and 44, row 5. Row 6 is 73, Ash Law, and 34, Roger Donnan. 73 and 34, row 6, Jack.
Yeah, so I've got the podium here. We're going to quickly run through the classes as well. We're going to bring on our classic winner first, winner of the classic class. Car number 13, it was Stuart Castenbaum who won the classic class. He's just chatting away. So onto the podium he will go, and trophies are being provided by Jim Walsh and Val Adaway as well. So onto the podium he goes, shakes the hand of Jim, and trophy will be passed over. We will also get our historic winner onto, the heritage winner, pardon me. So the heritage winner, that is car number 17, Klaus Dieter Hackel, on to the podium as the Sports 2000s head out on their green flag warming up lap. Again, a shake of the hand from Jim Walsh. And it will be trophies in hand and opportunity for media to get their various photos. And then we can very quickly run through our overall podium. And now we'll go 3, 2, 1 in reverse order. Finishing in third was car number 59, Jason Bribble. So Jason up onto the podium. A quick shake of the hand, and trophy provided by Val Adaway. Second place, car number 29, Alex Ames. Again, another trophy provided by Val Adaway. A shake of the hand and ever a smile on Alex's face. And winner of race 2 of the weekend for the United Formula Ford Championship, it was driver of car number 40, Andrew Rackstraw. Andrew over the beam with that one, jumping around. So joined on the podium by, of course, Jim Walsh and Val Adaway. And that just gives us time to hand back over to for the start of the Sports 2000 race.
Thanks, Jack. Just to try and complete the grid as the cars come around to complete their green flag lap. On the 8th row, we've got the 88 car, Peter Williams, and 7, Mike Turner, 88 and 7. Row 9, we've got 28, John Owen, and 9, Andrew Butler, 28 and 9, row 9. Row 10, 55, Rafe Higston, and 16, Richard Cook, 55 and 16, row 10. Row 11, 54, Bryn Tootle, and 14, Adrian Ridge, 54 and 14, row 11. And the last car on the grid, the main grid, 36, Rollo Tomasi, number 36. Then the second grid, the historic grid, has on pole position 67, Gavin Wills, beside it number 27, Mark Noaro. 67 and 27, row 1. Row 2 is 37, Will Scriver, and 17, Clive Steeper. 37 and 17, row 2. Row 3, 45, Peter Needham, and 33, Mike Fry. 45 and 33, row 3. Row 4, 13, Mike Dodd, and 2, David Muse, 13 and 2. And the last car on the grid, number 57, Simon Aldworth, number 57, completes this very large grid. There were 1 or 2 incidents in the early race, but in the end, it all worked out fine. And so the car's now ready to go for another 20 minutes, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, it was surprisingly an awful lot going on, wasn't there? But thankfully it does look like, if not all, I think it is all of them are back out there. Green flag has now waved at the back. Red lights are on for the final race of the day. Off go the lights, and it's great to see that Gibbons, whatever the problem was, is back out there and starts on that pole position, and off they go. The Historics, of course, start 10 seconds later. Gibbons into the lead, and it's Ben Cater that's got a bad start this time, because Colin Peach in the orange car is up into second. The race 1 winner was buzzing, to say the least.
Yes.
Off go the Historics, and it's Mark Noiro. There's a yellow flag down at Copse Corner, so one of the Duratex has obviously had a bit of a moment down there as the rest of the field arrive there. Yes, it's Is that possibly Ben Cater that is sort of going very steady out of Copse Corner? I might be wrong on that one. I don't think it is him actually, but we'll wait and see this next time round. But that was a problem with the Historics, because they all arrived there as one and suddenly went, we got a hold position. What position were we in? So a tricky one for them. Tom Stoughton is the cork there in his gun at the moment, with Steve O trying desperately to find a way past him in that white, orange and grey number 50 car.
So the cars complete the opening lap with number 1. Mike Gibbons leading as he did in the earlier race. As Chris said, winner of the early race was number 117. Colin Peach. Ben Cater's come through in 3rd place, so it can't have been him who had the moment. Steve O is there in 4th place, number 50. In 5th place is Timothy Tudor, number 40. And in 6th place is 77, Tony Barwell. So it's shown us the same drivers in the cars for this race, where you've got a double lineup as in the earlier race.
And I know it is, for example, Mark Noiro. I know that he's definitely back out there again. I think there's a transponder issue for Tom Stoughton, because he's gone down to the bottom of the grid, but he definitely was circulating because we were watching him for a little while. But there he is, just turning left now, I think, in the green car with the yellow flashes. In fact, he's gone now, he's gone back up. Yeah. So it did have him at the bottom, but he's up in 4th with Steve O all over the back of him at the moment. That's a great train of cars, isn't it? A very fast train of cars at that.
And a good looking train of cars as well, because these cars do look great. And Mike Gibbons leads already after just 2 laps by 1.5 seconds from Colin Peach. What's going on lower down? Is this Tom Stoughton dropping down the order again because of his transponder problem? But what you have seen...
Yeah, it was Stoughton actually not dropping down that far down the order, but he has lost 1 place because Steve O dived up the inside as they got down towards Copse Corner. So up goes the number 50 car into 4th position now. Tom Stoughton and his gun still there. Cool, that looked like a painful bounce, didn't it, in those cars? They're rather stiffly sprung, aren't they, to say the least? Historics are being led by 67
Gavin
Wills. Martin Waru had gone away in the lead in the green number 27 car, dropped down to, well, 3rd in his own individual class and about 5th in Historics overall now.
Yes, there he is. Meanwhile, we've got the leader completing his lap, his 3rd lap over here, ahead of Colin Peach by now over 2 seconds, 2.1 seconds. Ben Cater up into 4th place, Steve O, down to, again, we were thrown by that. If you watch the timing stream, because of the lack of a transponder on Tom Stoughton's car, he kind of doesn't get a mention until suddenly he appears in 5th place. This is where he should be. Timothy Tudor is behind him in 6th place, number 40, Tony Barwell. And then the 2 Laws, number 91, Joshua Law, ahead of 73, Ashley Law. Now, well,
that's good news, because I've missed the fact that the 91 car's back out there again.
I'm just looking to see where he should have been on the grid, and
I'd imagine right at the very back, yeah, because that car
must be the case.
Has had near on, well, I would say engine change, but it's a chassis that they've picked up and moved the various bits of bodywork over to.
Oh, really? So it's a bit Trigger's broom then, basically.
Jack did tell us that earlier on, so it's happened, but it's happening for him now because he's really steaming up through the grid, and he's in 6th place this time through.
7th with the Stoughton transponder issue, I think we'll probably find. As soon as Stoughton jumps back to his rightful
so I was just looking to
place,
see whether they put Stoughton in place, but they haven't this time.
Not yet, no.
No, it is difficult for the tie keepers when
is.
cars' transponders don't work.
It's why, apparently, if it's a repeat transgression, you do get kicked out of the race. You keep being told to sort it out. The number 13 car, is it 13? The blue and yellow, yeah, Mike Dodd, he is going brilliantly at the moment. He's up in running in 24th place, which means, yeah, he's the 2nd of the historic cars behind Gavin Wills. So that car is doing an absolutely amazing job, which I didn't get a chance to show you, by the way, is that Jack did find the photo of the car that it looks like.
Oh, yes, the Penske Lola.
Porsche 917.
Porsche, yeah.
Yeah. I knew it reminded me of something famous, you see. Stoughton's all over the back of 77, Tom Barwell now. Unfortunately, it is still showing him as a missing, but he'll catch back up again.
Oh, Tony Barwell.
Sorry, Tony Barrow. Yes. There we go. We just had another move from the 91 car of Law. That's got him past Tudor, so he's up into what will probably be 6th place once Stoughton is put back up in his right place. But Ben Cater is up into 2nd again. The 82 car got past Colin Peach.
And then Steve O is 4th, and then the change has happened, as described by Chris, up into 5th place. Has come number 91. So how far could he get? Has he got a chance of winning? We've still got just under 14 minutes to go, so there's maybe time.
Well, I don't think winning, because again Gibbons has gone through a new fastest lap of the race. 57s is the only driver into the 57s. Now admittedly 91 Josh Law is still having to fight through traffic at the moment, and he's still got a best time of 58.2, so it's pretty incredibly quick, isn't it? Great battle on camera at the moment between the 25 and 73 cars, so that's Needham has got past the other Law. Okay, can we talk Josh Law up into 2nd place by the end? Yeah, I think that might be possible. But again, don't forget is that Tom Stoughton, has he just jumped up through the order now? Not enough. They're showing him as 23rd, which isn't correct. He's a lot further up than that, unless we missed him make a mistake and go tumbling down through this order. But he's shown us 23rd. Here he comes. So he's still in the mix. He's ahead of the 25 car, so he should be showing us in 8th position at the moment, which means that Josh Law is ahead of Tom Stoughton now. Right. Change up into 8th place has come Josh Needham, number 25, in his Van Diemen, moving ahead of Ashlaw, number 73. And the fastest lap has just been set by Josh Law. Okay, so that's amazing. Bearing in mind, he's not in his usual car, as you say, and yet he's gone quicker than Michael Gibbons, which shows us what we've been robbed of, doesn't it? The two of them at the front. So hopefully, and I'm not sure what tomorrow's grid's based on, whether it's on their finishing positions, because this one was based on their 2nd fastest qualifying lap time. But tomorrow, if it's based on their lap times in this race, we could have the two of them starting on the front row together. That would be good, wouldn't it? Shot on the screen there, the leading car, the reigning champion, Michael Gibbons, number 1 in the MCR. Ben Cater 6.8 seconds behind him. So Joshua Law now in 4th place. Although he's just received a warning flag about track limits, so he needs to be careful. Yes. He's got the fastest lap. He is nothing at all behind Colin Peach, winner of race 1, in 3rd place. So the podium beckons, but as you say, he's got to be careful. Doesn't want to have any more indiscretions with track limits. Cool. I think that was Ben Cater just having to pick his way through the back markers. Colin Peach is under huge pressure from Steve O, so up into 3rd has now gone the 91 car of Josh Law. But Colin Peach is under huge pressure from Steve O now as well. Different classes again, so Peach doesn't have to fight too hard. They do look good, these cars, don't they? Some of them better than others, but there really are some. But I even like the mix of them as well, the different shapes and what have you. There we go. Stoughton is now slotted into 8th position, as I suspected, which means he's got past Needham, or I can't remember whether he's just ahead of him earlier or not. But there is Law, the 91 car, just picking his way through the back markers at the moment. That's the problem, isn't it? We've got 33 cars out there, so it's a busy old circuit. Last year they did separate out the Duratex and the Historics, but if there's not enough of one or both of them, then you can't have separate grids, especially not here at Silverstone. Okay, just under 10 minutes to go. Michael Gibbons leads by just over 6 seconds from Ben Cater, with Josh Law in 3rd place, 1.8 seconds only behind Ben Cater, and therefore I would have said with a reasonable prospect of taking 2nd place before the end, but he's not going to catch, we reckon, Michael Gibbons. No, because, I mean, he is eating into that lead ever so slightly, but it's still around 8 seconds.
Yeah.
And they're lapping fairly similar in their lap times. There's the number 14 car. Now, that was the one that dumped oil everywhere, so they've done well to get that car back out again. Says us. I'm sure others might question me on that one, but Ridge is just waiting, hopefully just waiting for an ideal time to
It'll
rejoin.
never come.
No.
Because there's so many cars in the race. It's at Luffield, incidentally, this has happened. Another new fastest lap to Josh Law, 57.136 last time around. He's got the gap for second to third down to under half a second. 0.483 of a second is all that there is between 82 and 91. There's 91.
And you also realise that Michael Gibbons just did a personal best last time. I think that he's been informed that the Shark's coming to get him. He's got the Jaws music playing in his ears of Josh Law coming. But, you know, as long as he just keeps it ticking over, there's only 8.5 minutes left to go. The margin should be sufficient. But look at that. That is the fight for second place now in front of us, isn't it? So
That's
Ben
right.
Cater under huge pressure. Again, two beautiful looking MCR cars. And they are both a newer bodywork livery, because you've got the gaps on the side where the air flows through them instead of sort of more solid blocks on the side. Oh, and we thought we were going to get, Law was going to have a look there, but wasn't really on. Ben Cater didn't move, just took the race in line, and which meant that gap disappeared somewhat. Ben's doing a good job here, isn't it? Making sure that MCR's very wide. Again, Ben Cater, I mentioned earlier, used to be a bike racer, motorbike racer, and he was then in single-seaters in the monopostos. And here he is, he's under pressure. There goes the challenge by Law. Surely that was a slam dunk, yeah.
Yes.
It was that much quicker that it was a matter of when, not if, wasn't it?
But he's responding, though. Ben Cater's fighting back. I think it may be in vain, but he's certainly not letting Josh Law get away from him. 7.25 minutes to go.
Still pushing Michael Gibbons to personal best, look, down to a 57.44, whereas Josh Law's done a 57.136 as his best, which is the fastest lap of the race thus far.
First to second gap there is that 8 seconds?
Yeah, just over 8.
8.186 seconds. So Ben Cater, Colin Peach, winner early. I don't think he's going to become a factor. I think he's going to have to settle for a place just off the podium, unless any of those ahead of him have a problem of some sort.
Yeah, I mean, we did see problems. You know, our leader, Michael Gibbons, suddenly out of nowhere slowed down.
We don't know what happened there, do we?
No, we don't. And which hopefully Jack will be able to find out if he holds on to the race win. We'll find out what the issue was.
Yes.
But, and I think we also had some time penalties, did we not, that got dished out at the end? Well, there you go, 91, 5 seconds. So 91 has a 5-second track limit penalty.
Which will cost him second place. He'll drop down to third again behind Ben Cater, unless he can improve on the situation in the remaining 6 minutes.
So that's the big challenge, isn't it? Not really about catching and passing Michael Gibbons, that I think is a step too far for him, but he now needs to make sure he is 5 seconds, more than 5 seconds clear of Ben Cater, who sits there in third in the 82. This is where Ben Cater and his team will almost wish they could speak, so they could tell Ben, whatever you do, keep that gap less than 5 seconds. Doesn't need to fight with him, but just keep the gap as small as you possibly can.
Whereas the gap first to second is 7.5 seconds. And even if, I mean, Josh Law, as you say, he's got to keep pushing and pushing. But there's no point in trying to overtake Michael Gibbons, even if he catches him, because he won't get ahead of him in the final result.
Well, it's down to 7.6, but actually it went back out that time, because there was a couple of tenths lost, but that's how tight it is between them. Talking about tight, 48.73 glued together, and that is Ashley Law, and they're going 3 wide at the moment, but that's a back marker, and the 48 car of Andy Chittenden. So that is, what positions are they in? They are 10th and 11th respectively. Chittenden's passed Law this time round, but Law's trying to come back, not possible this time round. I mean, it goes to show, even with all this downforce, you can still take too much speed into a corner and abuse the track limits, can't you?
Yes.
A lot of the other ones we were watching, like on the MX-5s, it was understeer as much as anything, wasn't it? Whereas these, no, it's just pushing a little bit too hard to get through this field, which I think we can forgive him for. I think he's always going to push that hard.
Right, now Tom Stoughton, you were saying, I wasn't disagreeing, but I thought you were right, had not been given one of the laps he should have been given, but he's gradually working his way up the order. He's shown as being in ninth place, but you reckon he's still a lap short?
No, not anymore.
Oh,
they slotted it up. I mean, it'll go tumbling down again and they'll slot it back up. They did that a handful of laps ago to catch it back up again.
Okay.
Now, the lead margin is down to 6 seconds now. There on the screen is Michael Gibbons, number 1, but with 3 3/4 minutes left to go, he must know that he doesn't need to push excessively hard.
Yes, you can stroke it home, as they say, apparently.
Well, especially with the track limits thing, is that there is a lot to be said for that. Stop pushing harder than you need to, otherwise you're going to fall foul.
Law to cater is 5 seconds.
So,
isn't it?
So he's still in second then, isn't he? Even after his penalty's been applied.
Because it was 4. I started that sentence when he was 4 seconds behind. Then he goes over the line, and he's just gone over 5 seconds.
Good spot. He's managed to get the lead up, hasn't he? So as long as it doesn't add any more to it, because the next one would be 15 seconds, won't it?
Yeah, 5.18 seconds is how far he is behind Michael Gibbons, and 5.4 seconds is how far he is ahead of Ben Cater. But I don't think in the remaining time, even though their laps are...
He's taken out about a second a lap, to be fair, but he would have to be then 5 seconds further down the road, wouldn't he?
Well, it could be a dramatic finish. He gets across the line. No, he catches Michael Gibbons, but he's not going to get 5 seconds ahead of him, is he?
No. Well, what he now needs to do is get 10 seconds away from the car behind, because I've just looked, the 10-second penalty board is being shown out. And to what number? 91.
Oh, my gosh. So it is a 15-second penalty now in total, isn't it? Because that's added on to his 5. We were seeing the 15 seconds given to a lot of the cars earlier, and that's what we're going to get. So sadly, he's just fallen foul of the track limits too many times.
So it'll be a lawless podium.
He will be. I mean, trying to look now, what will he have? Ben Cater's going to be ahead of him.
But maybe that's as far as you avoid. But they're going to be close with Colin Peach.
I think Colin Peach will jump ahead of him, bearing in mind we're down into the last minute and a half now.
Well, I think you could say he's certainly being fairly extravagant with the lines that he takes through some of the corners when we can see him on camera. He's pushing on very hard, but over the limit, over the curb limit.
You kind of think, well, I bet it feels a bit different to what he's used to. Oof, and the back marker's not being fair to the race leader there, goodness me. The 28 car getting right in the way and nearly snapping his nose off. Tom Stoughton, sadly, is now into the pit, so the transponder issue... they'll be hoping they'll keep flashing it up. We've got a yellow flag down at Copse Corner, so somebody has had a moment, presumably. Although that was... It's still flashing down there. Can't see what the issue is down there, but there's certainly yellow flags down at Copse Corner. 30 seconds.
Leader onto the last lap.
And that lead is down to under 2.5 seconds now.
Yes, he's going to get the satisfaction of having driven a storming race. Unfortunately, blemished by penalties, curb track limit penalties.
It's going to be, he's got to really go for it on this last lap then, because he needs to, he's not got quite enough to hold on to a podium place, I don't think.
No.
Well, now he's being held up by a couple of the historic cars this time round, but Steve O's disappeared down. That must be the yellow flag down at Copse Corner then. So the number 50 car of Steve O is dropping down through this order, I'm afraid to say. But Michael Gibbons for the final time round Luffield.
So here he comes then. Michael Gibbons has taken the checkered flag to win the second race of the three-race weekend here at Silverstone in the SRCC Sports Racing Car Club Sports 2000 Championship. The gap of the flag between Gibbons and Law, 7.96 seconds, but that's going to be adjusted shortly. So Ben Cater, we think, will be in effect second, and Colin Peach, we reckon, will be third, or will he? We can't be certain of that.
Interestingly, they've only applied 5 seconds at the moment.
That's why I'm hesitant, because, yes, as you say, it hasn't come up on the screen. That's what Jack was telling us he'd seen. Oh, that's it. Yes, we get so engrossed in the racing and so on. Well, you got your time, Jack, to take over the podium to make sure the right three. Cheers, see you tomorrow, Chris. Bye. To see that the right top three we have. The screen is still showing us Michael Gibbons winning from Josh Law and Ben Cater. Colin Peach fourth, Timothy Tudor fifth, Tony Barwell sixth, Josh Needham seventh, Peter Williams eighth, Anthony Chitterton ninth and 10th. Ashley Law. And what the fate of those penalties will be, well, Jack may be able to tell us a bit more when whoever the three drivers at the podium present themselves at the podium. Just whilst we're waiting for the final post-race podium and interviews, tomorrow is mainly about the Ford KAs or cars, the Enduro car 5-hour race, which takes the track first of all at 9 o'clock for a 60-minute qualifying session, because the car's normally shared by 3 drivers, so there's 3 drivers per car who have to get through.
Yeah,
Jack,
so
over to you.
I'm just down here now. I can see Josh Law, and I don't know whether he's unaware. He did finish P4 after all of that, and even with the penalties applied, corrected times, yeah, P4. So that means whilst Michael Gibbons still won the race, Ben Cater promoted to second place, Colin Peach up to third. So it all sort of changed towards the end. So we'll run over and we've got to grab a word with Josh Law after the day he's had. So just taking out his earpieces. Josh, oh, what could have been, I think, because you showcased in that race perfectly how quick this car is, whether it's the car you expected to race or not. And even with time penalties applied, what, P4, you've got to be happy with that.
Oh, no, I didn't know I got time penalties. That sucks. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. And, yeah, it's just great. Nice to get a bit of a result after having all the engine problems and all that stuff. So, yeah, I'm chuffed.
And you get to do it all again tomorrow, hopefully minus the penalties, but you know the car is quick, and we know you're quick already from this year already. So what you're looking for tomorrow? Top step?
Yeah, that's what I'm aiming for. Yeah, so we'll see.
Great stuff. Thank you, Josh. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news as well, unfortunately. So we'll have to try and grab somebody else. Who is it that we've got here? Michael, right. Okay. So, Michael, first of all, explain what happened this morning.
There's a tiny little bracket that on the gearbox at the back that holds the gear cable, and that fell off, and then I couldn't change gear, and I was stuck in 3rd gear, which is not ideal, which is a shame because we were running really well and got a nice rhythm and we had a nice gap and it was all sort of under control. But unfortunately, those things happen, and we got it back together. We even found the bracket that fell off and we put the same one back on, and it's all worked. And yeah. It was nice to sort of right that wrong.
And tomorrow, looking over your shoulder, because it seems like somebody's back in a quick car, and we know Josh is quick, so showcase some good pace. Is that something you're going to have to worry about tomorrow, or are you just going to keep your head down and see what happens?
I don't know exactly how quickly he was going. I could see the gap was coming down, but I was in a position where I didn't need to worry. So I'm looking forward to having a proper race with him tomorrow, because today's been disrupted by both of us having issues. And yeah, pick up where we left off last year, next to each other for most of the race, hopefully.
Great stuff. Congratulations, Michael. We'll wander back over this way where we've got a few more of our drivers as well. You can hear, might be able to hear Michael and Josh Law embracing each other, because that's all they did last year. They just raced so close, absolutely door to door. So we'll try and pick out who we've got here. By the looks of it, we've got Colin Peach here. Do we have Colin? Yes, we do. Colin, you've done it again.
Yeah, another podium. Second time in my life now, I suppose, yeah.
Well, coming into this weekend, if like not having a podium before, and then all of a sudden, come the end of the day, that's twice you've been on the podium. You wouldn't have believed me if I told you that.
Definitely wouldn't have believed you at all. No, like my voice is gone because it was really intense out there as well. So I was just catching Ben at the very end as well. Nearly snuck second. So yeah, I've had a really great weekend so far. So really loving it.
And you get to do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully again another podium would be brilliant. So.
Great stuff. Congratulations. Best of luck for tomorrow. I think we also have driver of Conor 82, Ben Cater. Have we got Ben? Yes, we do, Ben. We had a brief chat, I think, this morning. Race 2, it seemed like you were under pressure there a little bit towards the end.
Well, foolishly, I thought I'd save my tyres for tomorrow, and I wasn't going to catch those guys at the front. And I thought, well, that's fine, there's no one behind me. And then after a couple of laps, I saw this orange blob in my mirror and realised I'd better get my arse into gear. But I'd got it covered, it was fine.
And of course, having saved those tyres for tomorrow, where does that leave you for tomorrow? Is there anything you're going to change? I don't know whether you've looked at the weather. I know I haven't. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be like. But is there anything specific you're going to change overnight, or just a good night's sleep and go from there?
I think a good night's sleep is the way forward. And there's not much I can do. I mean, I'm new to the championship, so I don't really have any clever secret plans. But, you know, do what you can.
Great stuff. Congratulations. We'll wander over this way and just try and grab one more chat as well. Hopefully we can pick up the driver of the number 37 machine, I believe. We're just working our way through, trying to not to get in the way. We should have William. Have we got William here? Is it William?
No.
No? Who do we have? You stood next to his car, so I was just... Yes. Will's there. We'll wander back over this way and we'll grab Will. So... it seemed like throughout that race, the historics sometimes give a few of the slightly more modern Duratec machinery a run for their money in terms of racecraft as well. Is that just the nature of the car? You can race super close?
Yeah, I think so. They're a little bit softer and less aero-dependent than the Duratec, so I think we can get away with a bit more, and they give off a little bit more of a toe, so we can run quite close together, which unfortunately at the start, the yellow flag, I dropped back a few places, but at least I got to have a play with some of them for the first few laps. So yeah, it was good close racing.
And of course, you get to do it all again tomorrow. So is there much that you can change on one of these historic cars, or is it very much sort of plug and play and get out there?
I think there's probably a lot, but sometimes you can get a bit too into it. I think most of the time I'll probably be found by myself paying a bit more attention and trying a bit harder. So I think I'm going to go with that for tomorrow.
Great stuff. Best of luck for the rest of your weekend. Well, at least for me, it's goodbye.